Mickey Mantle, Clyde Frazier, Reggie Jackson, Ed Ingles. I'm not joking when I tell you they're all in that same category. Hi, it's Wayne Cabot. I worked with Ed for many years here at WCBS. You may know that radio stations have equipment like microphones and tape machines, but did you know that every radio station also has a heart and a soul? That's Ed Ingles. Ed Ingles is the soul and the foundation of WCBS Sports. At a time when in New York City or anywhere, you needed to put on the radio in the morning to hear what happened. We didn't have phones back then that gave us the information. Ed didn't just give the information, he told amazing stories, made relationships with the people he was talking to, and it came through in every report. Oh, and made relationships with all of us here at the radio station, too. That's why every single person has nothing but great things to say about our friend, our mentor, the great Ed Ingles. Ed, we love you. Come on back and spend some more time here now. Just don't take my job.
What I tried to do is get a story. I felt I was a storyteller. You know, scores are okay, but I wanted to be a storyteller. I want to come in every morning with one or two good stories you can hang your hat on. If I could do that either with tape or written copy, I was a happy camper. I thought I had a good sportscast and ready to roll. Hi, I'm Ed Ingles. I was the morning man doing sports at WCBS for 24 years, and then I hung around 6 more years as a freelancer, traveled all over the world. I didn't have a job, I had an adventure. And the reason for that was when I got up 2 o'clock in the morning, I was happy to go to work. I was either crazy or I loved my job. When I came to New York in 1962, the Dodgers and Giants had left to go to San Francisco. So when I walked around trying to get a job as a sportscaster, program directors, news directors looked at me like I had 2 heads. We don't need a sportscaster. I was a little crestfallen, but fortunately I had some news experience. So I worked at a couple of stations in news and finally got a break to become sports director at UPI Audio. And then I started doing updates at other stations part-time. But I was really, it was now 11 years had gone by and I didn't have a full-time job in sportscasting. So I was getting a little frustrated. So when the WCBS offer came along, I was ecstatic. I felt that was a wonderful match. I felt doing morning drive because I realized the landscape. In those days, we had no cable stations. We had no Sirius or XM. You could only listen to a couple of stations in New York in the morning and really get sports. And the newspapers went to bed so early that they used to print box scores with partial scores, 6.5 innings. So I knew what I had. I knew that I had a platform in which I could really get an audience if I worked at it. And working at it meant the fact that I had to go to games, I would get tape, I would get stories, so that I would not only give you the score of the game in the morning, but give you a story behind the game. And I really enjoyed those days more so than when all the talk stations came, the cable came, because I knew I had almost a monopoly. Muhammad Ali, he came on the scene after he won the gold medal in Rome in the Olympics. And they brought him up to New York, the Louisville Combine. They were running his program then as young fighter. They took him to the Greenwich Village, to a coffee house. We had this big diamond square floor, and we're all standing around it. And his people are standing up at the podium talking. And all of a sudden I hear, psst, psst. And I turn around and I see this gorgeous Afro-American face with a twinkle in his eyes. And he's saying, "Where are the foxes?" And I knew right away this guy was going to be interesting. We went to lunch one day, and I said to him, you come across as very anti-Caucasian with your comments. And he looked at me, paused a minute, and said, "You know what? If you treat me well, I'll treat you well. I'm just trying to get a better life for the black man." And it was true. He treated his white friends, in which I hope I was one, very well. He did things for us. And so I never looked at him as some radical black racist. I always thought of him as Muhammad Ali, a friend, the most interesting person I knew, a man who evolved into something very special for what he did for people. When they renovated the old Yankee Stadium, they didn't put the plexiglass up between the radio auxiliary press box and where Steinbrenner's box was. So I'm up there for an afternoon game, And I hear George say to MacPhail, "Go down there and tell Billy Martin to fire Fowler." Fowler was the pitching coach. So off goes MacPhail to deliver the message. I hear this. I go on the air, WCBS, and report to George Steinbrenner, has told MacPhail to go down and tell Martin to fire Fowler. So I don't see any in the paper the next day. Mickey Morabito calls me and says, "Ed," he's a PR guy, he said, "Ed, you know how George is, he gets carried away. He didn't mean it, I said, "Well, he said it." "Yeah, I know he said it." And we said, went back and forth, and finally he said, "I'll tell you what, you saved Fowler's job. Steinbrenner was not going to let you beat him to his own story." This job was ideal because I would mentor. I wouldn't have to give grades. I'd teach students how to be broadcasters in news, sports, morning shows, how to get internships, how to get jobs, how to live life. All the things that I had an opportunity to do and work with young people because they keep me young. I don't want to sit around with old people talking about the ailments all day.